My name is Dean J. Mathew. I'm Chief Operating Officer at IndonesiaX, which is a national platform in Indonesia. It's not so much a national platform in that the government is sponsoring it, but it is that we've got the top state universities on board. We've got companies like the stock exchange on board. We've got television companies on board, all offering courses to the public for free through our website. If you've not been to our website yet, you'll see it later in this presentation. So originally the topic was IndonesiaX, the first year. And I will be talking about my experiences with setting up and running IndonesiaX, but I'd like to talk more about what it means to do Open edX in developing countries. The target audiences are so different to what we'd expect on edX platforms. In America, even Latin America, Asia is just so completely different to what we're seeing out there, and Southeast Asia, completely different to China as well, and Japan's also got the MOOCs as well. So I'm going to start off by talking about aliens. Okay? We should understand that we're all aliens to each other. I grew up in South Africa. I know we've got people here from the Middle East, but you're coming from Japan right now. So we've got people from all over the world, and we really have to understand that the learners from those countries are completely different. They're coming from a different background. When they go to MOOCs for the first time, some of them are using the laptops for the first time as well. So we've got to understand these learners like they're alien to us. Open edX platforms, including edX, they want to talk about open reach. So that's improving access to education. And they talk a lot about studying education as well. How can we make sure that learners retain the information through MOOCs? How do we improve the learning experiences? And I feel that in developing nations, that's super important. But what's more important is to make sure that we can improve access. Because these are countries where people are dying because they don't know basic Medicare. Whereas in the States, I think everyone's got that sorted. So these are the type of things we've been dealing with at IndonesiaX. And I'm going to take you on a journey. So the first thing is that in developing nations, we're not only teaching learners online, we're teaching learners how to study online. We get an exorbitant amount of emails from learners in Indonesia asking us, how does this all work? We don't know how to sign up. We don't know how to take courses. But it's super simple, and most people that I grew up with in a small pocket of Cape Town, South Africa, or my friends in England, they'd log in to edX. It might be confusing for about 5 minutes, but after that, they've got it, right? It's different in Indonesia. I also want to differentiate between what is a developing nation, and obviously you get great students from developing countries. A friend of mine, James, born in Africa, he just graduated with a degree from Columbia in applied mathematics. So those are not the type of people I'm talking about today. I'm talking about people living in villages, the people who really need access, and the people that increase the numbers. A lot of you are running companies here, so numbers are very important, especially if you're going to bring in commercial backers to these projects. Everyone has to be paid, even though it's open source. So Indonesia's becoming more and more prominent in the world. It's the 4th largest country in the world by population, with 255 million people. So we're looking at great opportunity. We have to work out now how to get them all on board, how to get them all taking our courses, how to improve those completion rates. So I don't know if you know Agnes Monica. She's Indonesian, and she's just broken through onto the American music scene with a song called Like a Coke Bottle. Don't know if you guys know that one. Standing behind her is T.I., I think. And then a little less known fact is that Barack Obama spent a few years in, that's him over there. He spent a few years in Indonesia growing up, and one of our advisory council and one of our best professors has a house right next to his old school. That professor is actually from Cornell. He's been there for 20 years, but he's Indonesian. So we've got this reverse brain drain coming back to help with the MOOCs, which was cool. He flew out there, recorded a MOOC on economic integration for the era of Asian Economic Community, which just launched in December last year. So MOOCs are doing a lot for developing nations, including bringing talent back for a short time. And that professor has now decided to attract more American professors to speak on our website and to do classes at his university in Indonesia. This was yesterday in Bali, so there's a lot of people that are making Indonesia very important these days, okay? Just a joke. That was Trump, if nobody realized that, okay? So we looked at the world from the moon as aliens. Now let's look a bit about Indonesia. This is Indonesia. All of this, all these islands here are part of Indonesia. This is Philippines, though. Everything else here is Indonesia. That's a quarter. It goes around a quarter of the world. So with all these islands, of which there are 17,000 islands, how do we make sure that all those people can access good education? There's only a few huge, strong universities. And it's open edX that has finally allowed us to bring all these learners to the best instructors and professors in the country. Something about Indonesia as well is that if you're moving from this coast all the way here, is that everyone is very different. There's hundreds of cultures, hundreds of languages. The religions change as you move across, the colors of the skin, the accents, access to technology. So those are all the things that open edX allows us to overcome. This would be some kids who are playing on a farm. This is generally what they'll be doing. This is like more the jungle areas. And then in the city, not everyone can afford a laptop, so there's a lot of sharing as well. So we build it into how we run our programs, how we do our on-the-grounds marketing, and all that kind of stuff. So with developing nations, you really have to get to know the people, and you have to be more on the ground than just marketing online through your social media and events and stuff like that. That's true across Africa. I've worked across Africa most of my life, Zambia, Kenya. And when speaking to the big guys there, they say that their grassroots marketing campaigns have been the most successful. So keep that in mind if you guys are marketing in developing countries. They really like that. They like that a warm approach. Cool. Now let's look at the distribution of IndonesiaX learners across the country. There are 34 provinces. And we can see here that all these ones in black, they're the top 10 user base of IndonesiaX learners. 50% of the population is across this island stretch over here. Something I find very interesting is that up here in Aceh, it's almost about 1% of our learners. And then compared to North Sulawesi over here, it's another 1% of our learners. And these two regions are completely different. There was a lot of Spanish over here. There's a lot of Christianity over here. Whereas here, this place is running on Islamic principles. And there's two totally different places. But yet we see that the uptake of learning is the same. So you can't learn much about looking at this data. But what you would do, and what I'm not allowed to show you guys today, is obviously a lot of our research and stuff. What you do now, you start layering it. You'd layer it by population. You'd layer it by access to laptops, access to internet, electricity, number of schools, number of universities, GDP contribution, and you'll start learning a lot about the learners and why they're taking online courses and how you can develop that. So that kind of stuff works in every country, obviously. Obviously, developing nations are playing a more important role, and that's maybe why you came to this talk. You want to learn a little bit more about someone who's had some experience in developing nations. And so edX has consistently remained the platform's, India has consistently remained the platform's second largest learner base with 11% of learners. They've just hired a head of India as well. So if you think developing nations are not going to play a more important role in the development of open edX and the uptake of open edX, you've got to look at these type of things that are happening. Who's going to drive open edX adoption in developing nations? Do you guys think it's more universities or non-university institutions? Could I get a raise of hands for that? So who would think it's more universities that will be driving open edX? And who thinks it will be non-educational institutions that will be driving? Okay, cool. That's what we think as well. So let's take a look at the IndonesiaX website to learn a bit more about our approach. This is the homepage of the IndonesiaX website. So obviously, this is the thing that learners are going to see the most. You can see your bounce rates on your website. So when we change the type of person that's here, the bounce rates might change. So this is actually a famous actress. She's one of the most famous actresses in Indonesia. So we decided to put a face there instead of just like an image or like a cartoon or something like that. A real person, hands open, bright colors to attract a red to attract the learner, and a female, because we want to promote female learning. Most of our learners are male, and we think we can get a lot more out of the females. If you look at our, and especially in traditional countries like Indonesia, females play a very, very important role at home. They still do. And so if they're learning more, they're going to pass that on to their children. They're also going to force their husbands to study a bit as well, and not just spend their hard earnings on partying. So if you look at our partners, you'll see that we have a high percentage of partners that are non-educational institutions. We have the 2 top state universities on board, and then a few others that are not necessarily all top 10, but they were the most involved in active in e-learning and interested in taking part in this. And they were also the ones that were geographically dispersed. So we're offering courses as geographically dispersed as we can. 50% of the learners of Indonesian population is in Java, as I said earlier. And that means the best professors are there, the best universities are there. We want to stop that from happening, so we want to spread it out. IDX at the bottom, that's the stock exchange. So we're the first in the world, I think, that have a stock exchange offering courses on our platform. I think that's a big thing, because the stock exchange the Indonesian stock exchange is pretty big, and it's one of the best performing, albeit not huge returns, but over time it's been the best performing. And that's a lot of companies that are obviously listed on stock exchanges. So if you're going to set up an open edX platform in a developing nation, or any nation, if you can get the stock exchange involved, you've got an easy path then to like 100 huge corporations with budgets to blow. So that's one of the reasons we approached the stock exchange first, because now we get to talk to the big banks. We've got the stock exchange. Why don't we have the big banks? A lot of the construction companies, the agriculture companies, energy companies, all these are our targets for sharing the knowledge. So we're gonna be using that as leverage. We've got edX, and we're actually running a course from HarvardX as well. Many reasons for choosing to do that. One is to help boost a new platform in a country that's not used to e-learning. It's a lot about that, considering this is a very new thing in Indonesia. And Net TV, that's a television station, which is super cool. I think we're probably the first as well to have a television station. And there's a lot more partners. You can check out our website at indonesiax.co.id. If you scroll down on our website, you'll see that we're also unique in that we're using faces again. So we don't use, like, if it was a course on Introduction to Engineering and Design, we don't have some like engineering or building over here. Okay, we use a face again, because Indonesians are very warm-hearted, and they want to see who's going to be teaching them before they're attracted to the course. Okay, so this really helps for Indonesians. Perhaps it's also going to help for other Asians as well, especially Southeast Asia, and perhaps Africa as well. Africa is quite a fun, exciting place, and the learners like to have interaction with the students, with the teachers. This is also an opportunity for us to stagger or choose what amount of females we want shown here compared to males. So one course might have more than one instructor. Okay, like the stock exchange course over here, we've got gorgeous Miss Dewi over here, who was the director of the stock exchange. We've used her face as opposed to the CEO of the stock exchange, who's offering week 1 and 3 of this course out of a 4-week course. We chose to actually use a bit of English. Although the platform's in Bahasa Indonesia, which is a local language, we used English because our advisors told us to do that because it's quite prominent, and it's pretty cool to speak English in those countries. So if you're using spots of English, like for the titles, it's probably going to attract students more than saying Introduction to Engineering and Design in the local language. And that's a tried and tested fact in Indonesia. So think about that when you're using it in other developing nations.
Can you repeat your URL again, please?
It's Indonesia with an X at the end, .co.id. That's co.id. Yeah. So we were pretty stoked with this. It's again a way to also differentiate our platform from all the other platforms. It's like starting to get saturated, right? So all the platforms also start to look the same. The Chinese platform is amazing, I think. That looks pretty unique. But slowly the platforms, you really have to differentiate them. So what teaching methods are most preferred in these societies? So these are generally like these ancient societies. They haven't moved outside of their country as my ancestors have obviously done. The English, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Japanese, they've all moved out. But Indonesians didn't really leave their country that much. So they're stuck in their old ways. And they've still got this really traditional hierarchy. You can see it in the work. You can see it at home. And you definitely see it at school as well. So Professor Iwan Jaya Aziz, who's from Cornell, I mentioned earlier, he would intentionally say something wrong in his classes on campus, and the Indonesian students would not say anything to him. He'd do the same in Cornell, and the people would be quick to correct him. So we learn a lot by having these type of lectures coming back to Indonesia. So this traditional hierarchy is something that we want to change. Okay? We respect it, but we want to change it. We use a warm storytelling approach. We have a number of professors that we chose for different reasons, some more fun than the others. Some are comedians, some are very nervous on camera. And it's definitely the ones that use a warm storytelling approach that we have huge sign-up rates after the course has begun. So that could also be because people are telling their friends, oh, Reynold Casali's course is super fun, it's super interesting, sign up. So we think it's that. Reynolds courses are very much like that. And Reynolds courses use a lot of props as well. So these traditional nations, these traditional people, they like to use things and give examples when they're teaching. So don't just teach theory and straight facts and all that. Like, make it personal, make it warm, make it friendly. And we have to understand that internet is scarce in these countries. And it's no joke. Like, kids will walk around for an hour to find Wi-Fi just to study their courses. We've got a couple of learner stories on our Facebook page, which has a lot of followers, because Indonesians are super social. It's like 200,000 followers over the last 6 months, 8 months. It's really cool. So we've got to understand that the internet is scarce. So when we structure our courses, and we build our courses and our curriculums, we have to know that not all the learners want to watch the videos or can afford to watch the videos more than twice. Internet is quite expensive. Even in our office, which is a super nice office, internet access is sometimes not there. So let's talk about course structure. I know edX talks a lot about developing the way we offer courses, and you can embed courses with a quiz after each video. You can do discussion forums in between videos and all that kind of stuff. We aren't doing that now during our launch phase. And we've chosen not to, not because we don't understand how to use Studio, it's pretty simple, but because we want learners to feel confident. We want them to feel like, yes, I can learn from the best professors without feeling a bit silly. And therefore, we'll reduce dropout rates. So if you look on the left-hand side, we have very simple structure. A lot of people will do this anyway, even in first world countries. So this is week 1, and then under that we'll have a number of videos of that week. Then after that we'll put a new section, and that will be week 1 test. And that'll be a simple test as well. We don't use one of the 11 or whatever problem sets available. We just use multiple choice or tick boxes. So another reason why I want to make it super simple is because we want teachers to export it from our website and use it in their classrooms. So if teachers are seeing that it's a bit complex, oh, what about that question halfway through that video? What about that compulsory discussion forum? Once again, Indonesians are soft, nervous, not confident. So by doing this, we hope to help those teachers to export the courses and give it to their learners in the classrooms and stuff. And in Indonesia, homeschooling is a growing trend as well. They've lost a bit of trust in the education system. So we really want to spread access to these courses. Obviously, if you're offering videos, you can run Open edX on AWS, on Amazon, We won't get too technical. But that's obviously slow for developing nations. Like if Indonesia, we were running it in Sydney, and then we moved to Singapore, which is a bit closer, but it's still very slow to get those video streams working. So what we've done, we've just moved it straight over to YouTube, block the adverts, but the download option, we're still running from Amazon. And obviously, we're just using S3, which is the storage offering from Amazon.
Which island?
Sorry?
S3 or which island? Singapore island?
On Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you from Singapore?
I'm from China.
From China?
Yeah.
Cool. So course materials, we talked about how videos, a lot of the students don't really can't afford to watch videos. If they forget to download it and they watch it once, they might just stop taking the course. These kids don't have money. They don't even have access to laptops and stuff. So they struggle and they hustle to be able to study. So we have to make it really simple. So what do we do to make even poorer learners feel part of the class? If they can't watch the videos or they feel they can't afford to watch the videos, how can we still make them take the course? So we're offering that Harvard course. And in that Harvard course, you can download the SRT files, the text or the verbatim transcript of the videos. But it's just like simple text in a page. It's not attractive. It's not nice. It's not laid out nicely. It's just boring text. So that's not really going to make our learners feel they're still part of the class. So we do something very simple is we just take that verbatim transcript, we just add a logo to it, we PDF it, we give it like a short introduction of what this transcript's about, and we do it very nicely. And then we edit it slightly. Our editing team will edit it from being 100% verbatim, so word per word, to a nice flow, although it's still very close to the verbatim. So we're doing that. And then after a few paragraphs, you can start putting in screenshots from the video as well. After you've done that, hey, they don't have to watch the videos. They can totally download this for 1 cent, and then they can take a test, log on to the test, get a certificate. They're still learning. What course topics are most attractive in Indonesia? I thought it would be the academic stuff. I was betting on that. I thought they'd really want to learn this cool academic stuff that could get them better jobs, because that's really why they're learning. They just want to get a better income. But it turns out that our life skills and personal development topics are rocking. Like, the rate of inscription is much higher, 2 or 3 times higher than our academic courses. Examples of such courses are change management by Reynolds, who does all the props all the time, and he's known across the world for his marketing skills. So that he really showed us how we should be teaching kids in developing nations. And then public speaking, which is successful on many platforms. So it's not just our platform. I'm going to close with this, and I just want people to know that if you're lucky enough to be running a national platform and you have some influence then how to change the future of the learners and what that generation is going to find interesting, what skills they're going to have as they're studying and what they got access to online, please don't think just what the university wants to put online. Don't think about just what the students are asking for. Think about what are the fundamental societal needs of that country. What's going to help that country be safe? What's going to help that country grow? What's going to add real value to the base of that society that's going to allow it to get to the next level and the next really more intense learning and high-level stuff. So Indonesia had a tsunami in 2002. 250,000 people died. Now it's in Aceh, which has 1% of our learners, which is growing quite fast as well. And so we decided to make a course about disaster management. We decided to make courses on healthcare, supply chain. So if you're advising someone in a developing country or who's running a national platform, please advise them to make courses depending on the core needs of that country and not try to focus on the egotistical needs of perhaps the coolest professor or the most influential professor. Cool, so that's pretty much the talk. I hope you have a better understanding of IndonesiaX, how we look at education in terms of using open edX in a developing country. And you can test this kind of stuff on your own platforms. And in the future, obviously, we're going to start stacking our courses with more intense stuff, like the more advanced courses are doing. Not so basic and stuff. So the way we're going to do that is probably through the series. So Introduction to Stock Exchange, that's basic, like I showed you the structure. But then the second course is going to include a bit more of the extra problem sets, integrating that stuff in between videos. The third will be even more. So that way we're teaching learners how to study online, and they can develop their online learning skills as they take the courses, as they take that series. Yeah, so thanks. If you have any questions, I'm ready to rock. Yeah.
So just one quick comment and observation. I think it's cool to see how you've made sure to be thoughtful about how faces can help convey and connect to learners and encourage them to take those courses. The observation about cross-language is also interesting. Using English, even on a platform that's primarily not English, is interesting. The interest you have on social channels is exciting as well. The one thing I will comment is there is a feature to enable social sharing icons on the course dashboard that edX.org doesn't use, but is available for people who want to do that. So if you do find benefit from the social channels, I would enable that.
Where was that? On the course profiles?
On the dashboard of
when
you're logged in.
Yeah.
It'll say view course, has a little gear icon, and then I'll have a Facebook icon and a Twitter icon to share those course enrollment pages. So
Sweet.
that exists, you just have to enable it.
Cool, man. Thanks.
That's it.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, I was late. I lost my glasses. So if anybody found them, that would be great. But I might have missed your intro of how...
You have some on your head. I don't know.
No, these
Okay, that's not, okay. Just.
I've done that for sure. These are my sunglasses. No, I'm wondering, you ended your talk by saying, for those of you who are lucky enough to be running a national platform, did you explain to people how it was that you went on, maybe I'm wrong, are you Indonesian?
I'm not.
Okay, how a non-Indonesian person was allowed by the government to start up IndonesiaX?
Cool question, and that's a.
Everybody that already? Or?
Not yet, and that's a fair question. What I mean by like lucky enough is I feel very, very lucky to be able to doing something like this. You know, it's super cool, and it's a way to. I've always been trying to find a way to contribute to society and through education. So it's cool. It's not my only job. I've been working in Indonesia for 4 years. I advise a large group company there. They're diversified in property, and they do a whole lot of stuff. They are one of our biggest sponsors towards this project. And with all those networks and stuff, eventually the trust is there. Yeah. But I have a CEO. I have a local boss. And everyone else is Indonesian. Yeah. It's the holy month of Ramadan right now, so difficult for them to travel. They don't eat. Yeah. That's like the short thing. And I speak Indonesian fluently as well. Yeah.
So I had a question regarding internet connectivity limitations in places like Indonesia.
Yeah.
I work in the Arab region, so we have sort of like similar situations.
Are you from Darub?
From Edrak.
From Edrak. Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And it's great meeting you guys here. Yeah, I've heard about the initiative before, and
yeah.
You know, it's great to meet you in person, and I really hope to talk to you further afterwards.
Down.
My question specifically is, to what extent do you believe the internet connection limitation people face is due to, number one, the lack of the hardware required for the connection, versus number two, the cost incurred in the connection? The first requires, I believe, an approach of maybe, you know, trying to deliver more hardware, whereas there are alternative approaches for the second, like, you know, zero rating if possible. So my question is, have you looked at to what extent do each of these two factors contribute to learners' limitations in internet connection?
We haven't looked at that. I think we should definitely we could discuss that, and we could share some knowledge and stats between the countries. All I can say is that mobile usage in Indonesia is super well grown out across the whole region. Everyone is on it. There's 250 million people, but I think it's 70 million devices or something. So I think it's the internet access and the price of access in Indonesia. Yeah, the devices are there. Yeah.
Just one question. This IndonesiaX will be offered more like a non-profit service, or do you more looking for some business model to make it financially sustainable in the long run? Because you know that in developing countries, but I'm from China, that
Where in China are you from?
Nanjing. Of course, I'm from the wealthiest coastline, and somehow our living standard is very close to the Western countries, but in huge land, for more population living in inland China, somehow they are not able to afford to more expensive stuff. So I think in developing countries with large population, at first place you want to reach much broad audience as much as possible. And then next step, you need to figure out a way how to make this platform financially sustainable. Otherwise, it may be difficult to keep it running in the long run.
Yeah, totally, man. And I don't think for-profit websites are different from non-profit websites in that. All companies have to be financially sustainable, and it's a huge part of what we do. And we think about our business model very carefully before we attracted all our initial funding. Yeah, so something we did before edX actually is our certificates. Our certificates have never been free, so that's and then edX started doing that at the end of last year, I think. So we don't expect our money to come from certificates. So actually, income, it comes from contributions from partners. But what's cool is don't only look for money from your partners. You should be looking for more than that. They should be strategic partners. So we've got a television station, so we've got TV adverts. We've got a stock exchange, so we've got access to a lot of their regional offices where they do training. So that's the kind of stuff you should be looking at only. And it's affordable to do these platforms, man. Hire the right people. Hire people with more than one skill. So the guy who does our social media, he can also edit videos. Our IT guys help in the course management as well. Our marketing girl will help at our events. And not only do like sales. So yeah, you choose your team properly if you're growing, if you're new and you're growing, and you know what? Run the numbers, and it's not too expensive to be running these platforms, especially in countries that are not using a lot of video content.
Okay.
Yeah. Did it answer your question, or did I get it wrong?
Somehow, because I attended this is my second time to the conference, to the OpenEdX conference. I was in Boston last year.
Cool.
My strong impression that OpenEdX is widely used in Western countries, in US
Yeah.
or in Europe, while in Asia, even for developed countries like Japan or Korea, OpenEdX is still not so widely used. Maybe an important reason is how to monetize from this.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're only thinking about something to monetize, that's different, you know. Our goal is to just not monetize this. Our goal is to build this, make it sustainable, and convince people with money that this is what they should be doing as part of their corporate social responsibility. Man, these companies, geez, even just like well-off individuals can fund this. So, yeah, we're not looking to we're not focusing how to monetize it and stuff like that. We're looking to spread the energy and the love for online learning and spreading access. Yeah, so like that. Yeah, I don't have any like new tricks for you on how to bring in cash. You can do it through events. Like some people have said, you know, if IndonesiaX has an event, we can get like really great speakers, like the CEO of the stock exchange. People can pay for those events. It's one way you can bring in money. Advertising. So we've got a lot of animation in our courses. Like for example, our course on supply chain management, we've got a lot of buses and trucks running through the course. That could be a DHL truck. That's one way you can bring in money. Product placement. Yeah. But so you got to make the decision. Do you want your website to be full of adverts? You might like lose a bit of respect in front of your learners and stuff. Maybe. Otherwise, product placement, you could do it in a more sneaky fashion. Yeah. I'm so stoked about all these questions. It's really nice. Yeah, yeah.
So, in terms of making content more accessible, the group I work for here at Stanford, one of the things that we hear a lot is that it'll help people in other countries if it's on a mobile device. So that's on our future roadmap to do. But is that something that you do, and do you find that it helps people who don't have easy access to technology?
Yeah, so you know, we have more than 50% of our learners using mobile devices, but still, you know, 40 odd using laptops. So I don't see like it's such a huge thing to be using mobile in Indonesia yet. We definitely build for the desktop, build the courses for desktop and stuff like that. Yeah, I would love to speak to you as well because you've got a lot of you seem to have a lot of experience in this. I was watching you during my speech. I want to learn from you about the access and stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm curious, with companies like Google spending so much money to make YouTube extremely accessible and have great performance on all sorts of mobile devices, have you thought about making the content accessible outside of the context of IndonesiaX, and then somehow tying back the fact that that user watched that video into the course so that when they go on to there, it's kind of shown that yes, they've actually watched these bits of the course, and now they could just take the exam or whatnot.
Very cool, man. So we don't want our stuff to be outside of our website because we're a young company. So we only have our introduction videos on YouTube. So we use that as kind of our fishing rod. We use YouTube like that. And obviously, I mentioned earlier, we do use YouTube's awesome infrastructure to make sure that our learners can watch the videos, and we can watch our own videos if the internet is slow. We don't have plans to branch out onto public stuff. We also, professors also want to know where their content is, and especially like courses like cyber law, these type of things where the rules change every year. The professor doesn't want us to share that information on public, like YouTube, platforms like YouTube. But that's super interesting, and that's definitely something for the future roadmap that we could implement once we really feel that we've done our introduction to the market. Any other questions?
Another question.
From China, cool. Yeah.
Do you see any possibility to leverage this IndonesiaX as a way to marketing some local places or promote local business? So I was in discussion with some local government in China, also in Japan. They would like to build kind of like a city-wise MOOC platform to offer the courses introducing some culture, the heritage, some places for travel of that city to attract more outside visitors. Also for me, Indonesia is some kind of place for travel, for with a lot of beautiful islands there.
Yeah. Sorry I didn't show photos.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was relevant.
Yeah. You see the possibility of doing that on your platform?
Yeah, like my CEO will definitely be able to answer any commercial questions if you're asking something commercial. But we do have some ideas to do that, definitely. And that would also bring in backing from like Ministry of Tourism, for example.
Yes, yeah.
So you know, if we got to a stage where I had some free time to do a course, I was thinking to do a course myself called Indonesia by the Numbers. And then we'd run through different aspects of the economy and country using numbers to get the information across. And that would be in collaboration with someone like the Ministry of Tourism, maybe, and to attract people to come here, yeah. People who come here to Indonesia and spend money, yeah. Bye, thanks for coming.
Thank you, it was fantastic.
Cool. Any other questions? I mean, fire away, I'm quite open.
More or less, what are your, on the just the hosting side, what are the operating costs for, per month?
Okay,
Production aside, and just the hosting of.
where are you from?
The U.S.
Okay, and
Microsoft.
from Microsoft, very cool, man. You guys have a lot of courses online. Why are you at this conference?
What's that?
Why are you at this conference?
Learn how people are using OpenEdX.
Oh, cool. So you guys are you part of the e-learning in Microsoft? Or just?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for coming to this talk. I actually did a talk at the Microsoft offices. They invited me there to Microsoft in Indonesia, but it wasn't Microsoft giving the event. It was just held at those offices. I can't share that kind of information with you. I don't think that'd be proper, seeing as I'm alone here and I'm not Indonesian. But why don't you speak to a number of providers? Like I mentioned, it's affordable, and that's what edX told me. I mean, you got a provider right behind you with IBL. You could ask him right now what are the prices and costs. But edX, like when we set this up, edX told me it's affordable, and it does seem that way. Yeah. Microsoft, you wouldn't worry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was out at the beginning of your thing, and with Indonesia, do you deal with multiple languages on an individual course, or I mean, I'm just looking and seeing multiple languages. How are you? I mean, Indonesia has multiple languages, right? Or
Yes, we are thinking about perhaps doing some of maybe some subtitles in more local stuff, or making courses solely for smaller pockets of the country. But as a new platform, we're focusing just on the big picture for now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any ideas on it, I'll pick up a card because I'm dealing with a few people. We're trying to figure out how to make a single course multi-language a feasible thing. That's important to me.
Technically, it's easy. First, the video player supports subtitles from multiple languages.
Don't tell me it's easy for China. China makes my life miserable because you don't let me use YouTube. I have them all on YouTube.
Yes,
I have to become Mr. Video Server myself.
Yeah,
because of
that's
China.
the problem. Yeah, I think that's the problem.
No, but the X blocks don't support that. I don't have a problem with the video, but the X blocks I need to have multiple languages in that, and that's not supported yet. So when I do my quizzes and I do the course, it's easier to translate than to create a course. And so I've got the course. I just need to translate it into 12 languages, and
I think I used to.
I just want to know other people that are ahead of me on the problem.
Yeah. I think I used to see a course on edX, which is about the Indian culture. It's offered in 2 languages. Basically, they just
Replicated the course?
not just present the content in 2 languages. And
Yeah, but I've got 12.
That's a very
and so-
primitive way.
Yeah, it would nice to be able to just, change the flag and or know where they're coming from and give them the right content.
Cool, nice, yeah. I think Indonesia, so the army and the president back then, 40 years ago, whenever, Sukarno and Suharto, very strong men to bring this country together. Because how do you bring this country together with 17,000 islands, hundreds of languages? They used to war all the time back in the day. He brought them all together after the Dutch and Japanese were kicked out. And now they implemented Bahasa Indonesia, which means language Indonesia. And it's like a thing of pride in Indonesia. So that's why we.
So it's not like
it's
the
not like a-
Philippines that's still struggling with the multiple languages. They're uniting on a single language.
Yeah, the government is really pushing to unite on the language. Nationalism, national pride is very important to Indonesians. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting though, it's cool. I'll give you my card, yeah. You have any questions, miss?
Not right now.
All right. Cool. Yeah, thanks guys.
Congratulations, well done.
Oh, thank you so much, yeah. I hope there can be more national platforms. It's difficult to coordinate for the launch, because like, do you speak to the best university, and then who do you speak to first, and how do you, you know? So setting it up was like very difficult, a lot of meetings, a lot of trust you have to build with the people.
It's crucial to involve some early players.
Yeah. So we launched with four partners. We couldn't launch with less because there's like, traditionally there's there's 4 courses across there, right? Yeah. And we wanted to launch with not only universities. So we got the #1 university on board. And we also have their dean or their rector as in our advisory council. Like most of our partners have a member as part of our advisory council. We've got a really strong advisory council, which is super cool. Former ministers, CEOs, head of the International E-Learning Global Consortium. She was up until the end of last year. So it's pretty cool. And we launched with 2 universities and 2 companies, one of them being the stock exchange. And we were like, bam, this is the time, let's go for it. And we launched on the, yeah, so for developing nations, they love this traditional stuff like celebrating events, giving gifts, these type of things. So you got to take it into account when you're doing these platforms. So we launched on the National Independence Day. That would be very important for Indonesians. So it's like we launch as free learning, and it's a gift to the nation for Independence Day and all of that. So you can use those type of things. Developing nations are still very proud about their growing place in this world, especially the big, strong countries. Who's going to Africa? Come on, who's going to do something in Africa? Southern and Eastern Africa, where I grew up, everyone speaks English, like fluently. So why are we not giving courses to them? We've got to move on that soon. And Microsoft, you guys have so many courses, and those can be translated. A lot of learners. Like Indonesia, they have, I think last year they got the highest number of foreign cyber attacks. So that's Indonesians like attacking overseas or something, or like playing around. So there's a lot of interest in developing countries for computer technology, because they know it can give them a great life, better job, that kind of stuff. And a thing about instructors as well in developing countries, generally they have low salaries, and everyone involved with these things, with education, might have a lowish salary. So if they have to choose between spending their time making a free online course and contributing to these platforms, otherwise finding another job or like freelance stuff, it's difficult. So you got to really make sure they understand that you've already streamlined the approach to this. So they just got to come there, they got to do their thing, and they can bounce. Then their TAs will take over. Yes, sir.
I mean, because you mentioned South Africa, they speak English. What would a national platform do for South Africa when everybody can go get on edX, Coursera, you know, there's everything already available to them. So what would be the competitive advantage for doing a national platform? I can understand in Indonesia where something represented in the national language. But,
so yeah, why I mentioned that they speak good English is I mean that the existing platforms, the existing masses of courses, would be able to target them. So we can share a lot of content there, but those countries do have a lot of local languages. So I think a lot of countries do need their own languages. The platforms are their own languages as well. Yeah, but mostly the way I see it is that companies and organizations should be using open edX platforms for their own selfish needs. It's a blue ocean strategy for marketing your company. You're going to contribute or give online courses. You're building your brand. You're getting in the minds of the learners. You're gaining their hearts. They're taking their brand, your brand with you on their phone everywhere they go. So that's why it should be done. And those countries would be easy. Everyone speaks English. So a lot of them would already know about e-learning and have access to the world of English, the internet of English.
If I can add something, is a good reason is because each university or each country may have its own branded platform. In addition to have a general platform like edX or Coursera, you're going to have your own branded, customized experience. And that's a trend. Even on the university level at the US, every university wants to have their own branded identity. Basically because your business situations are different. Some universities have for-credit programs, others they are just seeking for lead generation. So many different scenarios. You cannot put all the courses together in one platform. See what's going on, for example, with Coursera. Fortunately, it's not happening on edX, but Coursera, they are removing all courses, and there is a lot of concern online. So that things happen. So these aggregational platforms, for some situations, they are not the best option in my view, and I share that with Jay, right?
Yeah, Michael, I agree, man. Are there any more questions? Any comments? How we can improve IndonesiaX? We got a lot of learning to do ourselves.
What do you see? Would you like to attract learners from some neighboring countries?
We get a lot of foreign visitors.
Okay.
So India, tons. Malaysia, because they speak Bahasa Indonesia or they speak something very similar. And because Indonesia is such a huge country, a lot of Indonesians are overseas, so we also get like tons of visitors from those countries because of Indonesians. But no, IndonesiaX's focus is on its own people. We're a national platform for Indonesians by Indonesians, and we're going to keep it that way for a while. Yeah, I hope all countries can have something like this. It can be done.
Anyway, as a Chinese, I would like to use this platform to understand the country. It's a good way for those brochure, the advertising, this country in the traditional way. Instead, I would see what kind of courses will be offered in Indonesia. That would be very interesting. My perspective to understand the country.
I hope these platforms will become a way for any foreign investor to look at a country and see who the big boys are. So like you could log into indonesiax.co.id and you'll see, okay, who are the universities that care? Who are the universities that given their time and resources? Who are the companies that care? Because for companies, they're busy. They don't have time for educating people, but if they give the time, like Net TV have done, Mr. Vishnu Tama, who's a big legend in Indonesia, like the stock exchange has done, those guys are busy. And it says a lot about who they are as people. So that's why I really want, if I had a big company, I'd be doing online courses without a doubt. It's totally worth it. Even if the enrollment numbers are not good and stuff, and you might not be educating a lot of people, the image of your company is the big thing. You're there, boom, next to edX or next to MIT or whatever it would be. That's how I speak to corporates in meetings sometimes. Yeah, totally. What are you doing in China, might I ask?
So I'm working in China, but I'm from a Japanese company, from Fujitsu.
Oh, great.
We're thinking about to tap into some vertical industry rather than more like a general national platform.
Yeah.
But in China, we do have some kind of like national platform.
Yes.
Which has
IndonesiaX?
Yes,
yeah. Okay. Oh, of course, I know that. I know I try to know as much as possible. Yeah. IndonesiaX is cool, man. I check it out. But it's one of the platforms I research the least because it's just tricky. It's difficult to understand the Mandarin. We got some Chinese speakers in our team. So. Yeah. Ni hao, man.
But it's good to see that more Asian platforms coming up.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Isn't it the age of Asia right now? No, it's the, people are thinking Asia is what's looking good right now. It's growing and all of that. After that, maybe Africa, I don't know. How's Fujitsu's business in Indonesia?
I'm not very good aware of that.
Panasonic are there. Panasonic Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chinese. Shit, yeah.
I know
Chinese have big business in Indonesia.
it has a lot of investment in Thailand.
Oh, in Thailand. Oh, cool.
But more
Yeah.
for kind of like partnering with the automobile manufacturers.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of this in
Oh, nice.
Indonesia. I'm not so well with that.
Yeah, if you want to come to Indonesia just for holiday and stuff, it's superb, obviously. Bali, Lombok.
Best in the world.
Yeah. I'm bored of it though. You're living so close, so please come stay at mine. There's so many islands to discover in that country. Cool, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.